Today, the January 6th investigators released video and still images of Republican Congressman Barry Loudermilk, in fact, leading that group on an hours-long tour of all three House office buildings on January 5th. Hours. In all three office buildings where members of Congress have their offices. And one member of the group strangely takes pictures of things that tourists don't typically take pictures of. Security checkpoints and hallways and stairways. We know that a member of the tour took this picture of the office nameplate outside Jerry Nadler's office. Also this picture of what appears to be a directory listing of Democratic members from the Judiciary Committee, including their photos. Multiple members of this tour group led by Congressman Loudermilk apparently photographed the entrance of a tunnel that leads from the Rayburn House office building right into the United States Capitol. Why are they all taking pictures of the tunnel? The committee says that multiple participants from Barry Loudermilk's tour, including the man who was taking photos of the security checkpoints in the hallways, the January 6th investigators say that man and others from the tour then did participate in the January 6th events the following day. In fact, the man who was taking the odd pictures of the security checkpoints and the hallways and the stairways, according to the investigation, he shot this video for Facebook Live on January 6th, in which he interacts with a person who he calls our fearless leader. The man shows off how he had modified his flagpole to put what appears to be something sharp at the tip of it, or maybe he's just sharpened the tip of the pole itself to use it like a spear. The man says it's for a certain person. And the man shooting the video, the man from Congressman Loudermilk's tour, then says, yeah, that's for somebody special. And he mimes sort of jabbing it into someone. The man from Loudermilk's tour then says on the video that they're coming for Jerry Nadler. He repeats Jerry Nadler's name, Congressman Nadler's name, a couple of different times. Says they're coming for Jerry Nadler and Chuck Schumer and AOC, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, and also Nancy Pelosi. He then specifically threatens Pelosi. He seems to be threatening that he's going to tear out her hair if he gets his hands on her. The implication of this release from the January 6th investigation today is that members of the January 6th mob, including this man who got help in his task, knowingly or unknowingly, from Congressman Barry Loudermilk, they apparently prepped and did reconnaissance, not just generically for targeting of the Capitol the next day, but for knowing their way around the buildings, where members of Congress have their actual offices. In this guy's case, based on his comments the next day, that was apparently so as to find and menace and potentially attack individual members who he was looking for the next day, after having visited where they have their offices the previous day, thanks to Congressman Loudermilk. The man photographs the nameplate outside Jerry Nadler's office on January 5th, after Congressman Loudermilk's tour shows him there. And then the next day, he's marching toward the Capitol, screaming repeatedly about how he's going to go get Jerry Nadler. So what does this mean? I mean, number one, it means that the Democrats, led by Mikey Sherrill, who raised the alarm that this had happened on January 5th, they were apparently right. Number two, interestingly, the committee has apparently interviewed the guy and has photos from his phone that he took during this tour of the House office buildings on January 5th. That's interesting. We should note that it appears the committee, therefore, knows who he is. They have identified him and indeed contacted him. But we should also note that as far as we know, he has not been arrested or charged with anything related to the attack. Number three, I think we have to ask, what the heck with the Capitol Police letter sent earlier this week saying, yeah, we looked into it. It all seems fine to us. They said explicitly in their letter that the tour didn't go into the tunnels between the office buildings and the Capitol and didn't go into the Capitol itself. Well, the committee shows, in fact, that the tour included showing off the tunnels and members of the tour taking pictures of the entrances to the tunnels, which is what you'd need to get from those office buildings into the Capitol building. Did the Capitol Police actually look into this, and why did they screw this up so badly in their public statement about this event? But finally, and perhaps most importantly, this is new information about the deliberate targeting of individual members of Congress on January 6th. We previously had video of dudes yelling, "Nancy, Nancy," while they hunted for Nancy Pelosi's office. We, of course, have all seen the haunting footage of huge numbers of people in the crowd saying, hang Mike Pence, hang Mike Pence. We have the fact that the rioters, in fact, were able to find one of the offices for Nancy Pelosi, and that office was, in fact, ransacked. But now we've got this new video where, as the dude is advancing on the Capitol, he's talking to a guy with a spear made out of the flagpole about how they're going to use that on a certain someone, and then they name individual lawmakers that he says he's coming for: Pelosi, Nadler, Schumer, Ocasio-Cortez. And yes, in the abstract, maybe that sounds like a weird guy fantasizing while he stomps around on the National Mall. But now with context, we know that that same guy the previous day, with help from a Republican congressman, was apparently casing the office building where those members, in fact, had their offices, documenting the stairways, the hallways, the security checkpoints, and how you might use that underground tunnel to get from that House office building into the Capitol itself, taking pictures of Nadler's office door, potentially mapping the way to get to individual congressional offices and also into the Capitol. Thanks for that, Congressman Barry Loudermilk. Thanks for that very much. Why did you deny ever giving that tour until you were caught for it? And what did you know about the intentions of the people who participated in that tour when, again, the Capitol complex was closed to tours? And what did you think the following day on January 6th, given what happened at the Capitol, when you knew that you had given a tour the previous day, and when Democratic members of Congress raised concerns about those reconnaissance tours having been given? Why didn't you go to the police then, sir? Why won't you go to the committee to talk about this now?